both hands move at the same time, you will use your opponent's own momentum to throw him to the ground. When your opponent punches right, move left and grab his wrist as in Punch Counterattack 21. At this point, step behind him with your right leg and reverse sweep him as you bend his arm and wrap it around his neck. The key to this technique is the wrapping of the arm around the neck and then the pushing of his leg back with your leg like this. If you sweep his leg at the same time you push forward with your arm, you will take your opponent to the ground. For this technique, your opponent will again attack you with his right. You will dodge left and grab. Press your left arm against his body like this. At this point, if you want, you can break his arm at the elbow with your arm. But for this technique, use your shoulder to press his arm down as you pull his wrist and lead him to the ground. Now you can break his arm here. Or you can let your opponent roll away by letting go as you bring him to the ground. For this technique, you have to be able to apply pressure to his arm with your shoulder to best control him to the ground. When your opponent punches you with his right, move offline slightly to your left as you parry their punch with your right. Immediately, pull his arm down and forward with your left hand, as your right hand moves up to strike him with a palm strike to the face. It is best to move forward as you attack with your right. The key to this technique is the simultaneous block and attack at the same time. You cannot first block and then strike. This is too difficult. You must advance and hit as you bring his punch down with your left. The timing is very important. When they attack, simultaneously defend and attack. Here is a cross hands defense against a punch. When your opponent punches, block with a cross hands block. Now bring his arm down as you turn your left hand up to grab his wrist. Advance forward as you twist his arm using your forearm for extra leverage. From here, switch hands and then strike him in the neck. Now I'll do it a little faster so you can see. Now we will add some leg work to our defense. If your opponent punches you with a left cross, parry his punch with your right, and block your opponent's second punch down with your left as you advance and strike to the neck. Hook your leg behind his and pull back. This will send your opponent to the ground. You must pull your leg back like this. It's important that you hook your foot around the back of his foot. This motion is what takes him to the ground. To do a 1-inch palm strike, you can place your hand in many different positions. For this palm strike, leave an inch of space and then strike forward and down like this. If your palm is facing up, you strike in and up. A sideways palm strike will look like this. If I use my elbow, I can attack like this. These are all ways to utilize 1-inch power. To get this power, you must lower your center of gravity and use explosive force and speed. When you hit, you must have all three elements in order to develop damaging power. This inch power is very useful, but you have to develop whole body speed and power. When your opponent attacks you with a punch, parry up and strike down. Where you want to strike is the kidneys, as they are one of the most vulnerable areas on the body. Your opponent punches, you parry up and strike him with an inch palm strike against the exposed side of the rib cage. This technique is simple, but you must parry and strike at the same time. If you do not, then he will have the opportunity to counter-strike you. Also, you need to advance forward as you strike for power. The forward momentum will add power to your strike. If you use punch counterattack 27 and your opponent blocks your attack, don't worry. Just roll your hand up and around to his arm and attack underneath with your other hand. Roll and attack. Let me demonstrate this a little faster. The best place to attack is the center of the body here. This technique also requires you to simultaneously advance as you roll your hand up and attack. This type of rolling parry and strike allows you to use many inch power strikes. When they punch, you can strike, then roll and strike again with inch power. You can attack right here. This is very useful. This is your strike zone. Let's do it again. My palm strike can break his ribs and knock the wind out of him. Don't worry about his arm, just focus on your movement and attack. It is possible to cause internal damage with inch power if done right at the right place, like here. When your opponent punches at you, it doesn't matter if it's with the right or the left. When he strikes, dodge and roll the punch out of the way with your forearm, like this. Then use your elbow to attack his exposed ribs. When you hit with your elbow, pull back with the other elbow at the same time for added power. This technique is very simple, but powerful, because you are using your elbows. Its simplicity and effectiveness make it very useful. If your opponent uses his right hand, you can use the same elbow strike with an added leg sweep. Use the same dodge and block as punch counterattack 30, but strike with your elbow as you step forward and reverse sweep their back leg with your right leg. You use your elbow like this to strike him. The combination of the elbow strike and the sweep will act as a lever effect. This is a very effective technique. We will do it again for you to see. Punch counterattack 30 is very effective when you use your elbow, but you can also use this part of your arm. When your opponent punches, strike him like this. Then hook your hand back while you push his arm forward. Draw a circle back with your left leg, and with your shoulders connected, pull back and down. Your opponent will go down, but use your shoulder strength to take him down after softening him with the outside of your forearms. The shoulder is very important in this throw. All the torque will come from your shoulder and the twisting of your waist. Your opponent attacks you with their left. You will dodge right and catch their arm with both hands, like this. Rotate and bring his arm down until it bends like this. From here, wrap his arm around his neck and turn his body until his back is facing you. With your right hand, pull back into a headlock and take your opponent to the ground. The best place to apply pressure with this lock is underneath the chin. Don't at this point use strength. If you are quick and relaxed, their arm will swing around easily so you can lock them and take them down. When their back is twisted like this, they will have no leverage. Use the same setup as punch counterattack 33 to turn your opponent around. At this point, you can apply a double palm strike using inch power. Place your palms here and strike. This is very effective for attacking the back. Now let's see it again. This technique is used for controlling your opponent's neck with their own arm. When they attack, move and catch. From here, twist and bend the arm. Wrap it around their neck and under their chin. Now with your right hand, push his elbow up and then take him to the ground. From here, there is nothing he can do. The thing to remember is when you catch his arm, first twist and bend. Bend their arm and wrap it around. If you don't twist his arm, then your opponent may be able to hit you. So make sure you have control of his arm. Wrap it around, pull back, push, and he will go down.